But the goal is really not on the outside of the wood. The goal is where? On the inside. And God said that you got to do what he had to do. Remember in the beginning, Jesus was in God when God was dealing with us. But now in order for us to deal with him, he had to turn himself inside out. Now God is in Jesus. Don't make me prove it to you. Corinthians said that God was in Christ reconciling the world unto himself. Which means God literally turned himself inside out to deal with us. And what he said was, you got to follow the example. You got to think from the inside out to deal with God. Hello, I need a high five for that one. Throw me one. Thank you. That's close. Which means I've got to learn to think, to stop thinking so much about flesh, about stuff, about what I want. What does he will for my life? Now, we were dealing with this. And then my asking God, how do we get to this point? Number one, I got to keep the word on my mind. I got to stay in the word, keep it on my mind. I got to learn to meditate. Even through my crisis and my situations, I've got to keep my mind. Then Colossians chapter 3 says this: if you then be risen with Christ, seek those things that are above, where Christ sitteth at the right hand of the Father. I want to give you just another translation of that. I'm trying to tell you, when you do that, because here is something that all of us have gifts of the Spirit. And when I began to do this, the gifts actually began to operate through me, because it is Christ operating through me. And you'll find yourself once again engaged in a conversation with a person. If you really would allow him to use you, there are things that start crossing your mind that you're reluctant to say to a person, but if you go ahead and say it, you'll find out that's Jesus coming down these streets. If you would allow him to have your mind, because you're thinking on the things of God, you're thinking on him, then all of a sudden you'll find yourself thoughts about people and just their situations, and you don't really know them, but this is on your mind. So now if you let him have it and just go ahead and start saying it, let him have your mouth. And you start talking to them about their grandmother. You wind up talking to them about their child. And where they were not paying you any attention, you struck a nerve, because, see, he knows how to get their attention. And now here it is, you're talking to them about something that they know you shouldn't know anything about. But if you let Christ have it, he's getting their attention, and now he's going to tell them how to handle it, how to come out of it. One thing he does is that he never leaves you hanging. There's always hope in him. And so when you're having marital problems, sometimes going to people is not what you need to do. So we have a tendency, we got people that we go to, and nothing wrong with telling mama about things that's going on, but some things mama don't need to know about in your marriage. There's some things daddy don't need to know about in your marriage. Because what they're doing is forming opinions about the person you married to, and when God straightened that thing out, they still mad with them. And the problem is that you don't understand how it got like that. You did that because you went to the wrong person. Hello? See what I mean? How he know your business? Just stay with me, because I don't know nothing about you and what you're saying. But if we learn to go to him, so God not only tell you how to handle your marriage, but he'll tell you when to bring up stuff that you need to bring up. A lot of times when I'm selfish, I've got to get this off my chest. So I need to say what I need to say, and I know you're mad, but I just need to tell you. That's not how, we're good people, but we're so easy to get away from God. Then we wind up digging a deeper hole for ourselves, and now we're trying to figure out how to get out of it. It's human nature, but he's trying to get us to learn how to walk in the Spirit. So Colossians says, so if you're serious about living this new resurrection life with Christ, act like it. That alone kind of tells the story. Are you serious about it? Act like it. He said, don't shuffle along, pursue the things over which Christ presides. Those are spiritual things. Don't shuffle along, eyes to the ground, absorbed with things right in front of you. Look up and be alert to what is going on around Christ. That's where the action is. See things from his perspective. And he always sees things victoriously. So it doesn't matter. And again, now the only thing I'm using this, but this wasn't my doing. This was God and using all of us. again, looking at the people on Sunday, you can't see that. You can't see it. But I got to keep saying it. I got to keep believing that God's going to do it because he's the one that told me. When he took us down from what, 8 acres, how many we talking about? Down to 1.7. I went down to 2. God went down to 1.7. And when no sense of me arguing with that, that's him doing it. Okay, God, that'll get done what we need to get done. And then work it out. So all you got to do is keep looking to him. Not about what it looks like, not about what the financial books say, not about that. On the last day of having to close on this thing, I had somebody text me and say, listen, where are we? Did we get it done? I said, no, Deke at the bank not checking it out. They said, well, I got another $1,000 if we need it. I had $2,000 and I was going to put my truck in the shop because I want to go and get everything right. God said, no, you got $1,000. I say, God, they got $1,000. I know some more people with $1,000. But God said, you leading the charge. I said, nah, that's $1,000. I got $1,000. I called Deke. And I said, Deke, he said, well, why don't we just take the $17,000 we got and then just borrow $5,000? I said, why don't we do this? So-and-so got $1,000. I got $1,000. You got $1,000? I said, I'm going to call so-and-so because I know they got $1,000. And he said, well, we won't have to borrow no money. I said, well, let's do that then. And do you know everybody dropped their $1,000? We went on and did what we needed to do. God wasn't going to let me stand here and talk this and say this and then not actually put it up myself. So, and again, the blessing is he knows how to give you what you need in order to get it done. Now, we get to the bank, and they said this. A couple of people had a check, and they said, we still short, Pastor. We got the money, but all of the checks haven't cleared. And in order to get this cashier's check, the money have to clear because they got to know it's there. Then what are we short? What's the problem? We go in and the bank wasting time. I got to go to work. Now I really didn't even want to meet them at the bank. But I'm holding somebody's check they said, so Deke said, why don't you just meet me at the bank and you can bring the check? Okay. I got $2,500 cash in my pocket somebody gave me the night before to put in the bank to take care of some other business. The night before. I get up, getting ready, thinking I'm getting ready to go to work. Lunchtime, I'm going to put the $2,500 in the bank. Deke called me and said, why don't you meet me at the bank at 10 o'clock? We'll all be over there. You can bring the check. I wanted to tell him no, but I got to take care of this like everybody else. So I run to the bank. When I get there and give them the check, they tell me because it's a check, we're still short. We got the money, got to have this. So what do we need? So the lady said, well, Dean, get through writing it down, $700 and some odd dollars in order to have enough to do the cashier's check for $20,000. Here's another $1,000 cash. Now put it in the bank. Let's get this done so we can move on. And by the way, Thursday, y'all give me my $1,000 back so I can take care of the other business. The whole point of it is God knew what we were going to run into. So that Monday night, the fella called me and said, come get this money and so we can go and finish taking care of our other business. So I'm buying another building. And he gave me the $2,500 and I say, look at God. God knew we were going to run into this. I'm standing up in the bank with $2,500. I feel like a big timer. What we need. You understand? That's all I want to well, and so, but the whole idea of it is that when you let God. So my body didn't want to go to the bank. God fixed it for me to have that check so I would have to go to the bank. And all I'm saying is if we let God have it, now all of this got down to the wire. It doesn't matter because God's still on top of it. So in your situation, though it looks bleak and the clock is ticking, that don't mean nothing to God. God will let it get down to the last 30 seconds and he'll do it faster than that because he's God. Can you hang on till God come through? That's all he want to know, but we too quick to give up. So now somebody needed that. Now, with these few minutes I have, I want to share this with you. You really need to finish reading Colossians chapter 3 because there are some things that we have to do in order to think like this. And again, you need to know this because God made sure I knew this. There is absolutely, positively no way you're going to start operating in this and the devil don't pay you a visit. You need to know that if you make your mind up that you're going to actually try to start thinking on the word of God and you're going to try to start operating like this, then once you make that decision, the devil will leave your neighbor down the street and come see you. because